One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferrero and we are so thrilled to be here live and in person in Columbus, Ohio. If you're in the room, let people know you're here. Thank you. Yeah. This is we mentioned it last week, and you're going to want to make sure you read the newsletter this week. Lots of shifts and expansion happening here with SoulCall Global. We are evolving into what we were designed to be in the first place. We've enjoyed doing these SoulCall Sundays live and in person, but starting September 3rd, so this is our last SoulCall Sunday live and in person at 8 a.m. So the next couple weeks, I'm taking a sabbatical. I'm going to the beach. I'm going fishing. I'm going to go do some of the things you guys have been doing all summer long. And we're going to be back live and in person the first Sunday of every month. So September 3rd will be our first Sunday, and we'll be live and in person in the atrium at the Dempsey Events Center. More information about that. Our newsletter is going to continue every week because we've got fantastic offerings all through the month of August for workshops, yoga, qigong, mandala, everything you can imagine. And then our Wednesdays, our next Wednesday is Wednesday, August 16th for our live music meditation kirtan. We had a nice crowd last time, so share it with your friends and come out and join us in the atrium space at the Dempsey Events Center in Delaware Heights Road. So this morning, the talk this morning is the Arc of Silence. And those of you who were with us last week and been tuning in over the years, yes, it's been years, we've been talking about that in our silence, God's silence ceases. And what it means to tap into that silence where all we're interested in is direct contact with whatever you call God, goddess, source, infinity, that pure essence beyond thoughts. So today we're going to talk about recognizing that all thoughts are God's thoughts. All thoughts. With the thoughts I was thinking I could be another Lincoln. If I only had a brain. You've got brains and we think lots of thoughts. But how do we get to that beyond thought zone that you've heard me talk about many, many times over the years? And that's kind of where SoulCall wants to hang out more often. So, we started in 1999, and we've been doing a lot of things, going into foster care shelters and creating meditation rooms, things as total opposites as drum circles to help get some of the anxiety out of children who end up in foster care immediate removal shelters, then also creating spaces for them to get that creativity out in other ways, expression, and then also rooms for meditation and quiet contemplation, which is mostly unheard of in shelters. And it's sometimes unheard of in the shelter of our own home. How do we find those little spaces of silence? So getting past all of that, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But this morning, as we start every SoulCall Sunday, Helen Yee is off and traveling in Michigan, someplace with a big old group of martial artists, and bringing her Qigong there in person. So we have a video of Qigong with Helen Yee, empowering us and reminding us how to pull in the energy that is always available to us all around us. So find a space if you want to practice Qigong, and welcome Helen Yee.
Taking a deep breath in, placing your hands onto the lower dantian. Allow your mind to focus here. Feel the rootedness of your feet on the ground to earth, yin energy. Place your hands to the sides now, opening the Lao Gong to the earth, absorbing the energy of yin earth energy like a magnet. Continue to breathe in a slow, relaxed state. It is our breath that connects us to the energy of life. Relaxing your wrists, raising and floating your arms up gathering the sky energy from the heavens and focusing with your mind, bringing it down to the central meridian channel of the body. Feeling the collection of the chi intermingling with your own chi body energy. Absorbing into the bone marrow, deep into where the red blood cells are formed. Allow the cells to bring into the vascular system, connecting to blood and chi, circulating all into the bodily fluids of lymph, synovial fluids, cranial, sacral, and cerebral spinal fluids. Floating them up again. Breathing in and breathing out. Taking it all into our organs, to the systems of our body. Nurturing and revitalizing the essence of our life force energy. We are connected to not only our internal energy, but to the external energies of the universe and to all that is. Bringing your arms out, allowing your mind to feel the collection of the chi coming in between your arms into your hands. Feel it collecting, vibrating, and tingling. The movement of the chi. Feel the collection of it getting more and more concentrated into a more powerful chi ball. Guiding it down into the lower dantian, squeezing the perineum, pushing it in, storing that chi, bringing the hands out to the sides, relaxing the shoulders.
Welcome back, everyone. Just allowing yourselves to integrate all of that marvelous energy, that wonderful chi. And we're going to practice silence as we listen to this song, Sacred. And then just go, after the song is over, we're just going to stay in the silence for a minute and we'll open with a prayer. So enjoy the integration of this light into yourselves.
So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. 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 I will share, 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 I will share this love. so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love, so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. I will share, 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 I will share this love, this love, this love, this love, this love, so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love, so sacred, so secret, so precious, this love, this love, this love, 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 this love, this love, this love, this love.
And inhaling, breathing in that silence. Exhale. Breathing in again. And hold the breath and exhale. Oh, infinite divine beloved, we open to the silence that is just beyond our thoughts, just beyond our breath, just beyond the vibration of a beating heart. Help us to tune our will, my will with thy will, to be ever in tune with the cosmic beloved, which gives life to all, brings joy through the language of our hearts and souls. We open, we trust that all unfolds in divine right order for our highest good. Om Shanti. Peace, and so be it. So bringing our attention back to the room. And wherever you're joining us from this morning, we love to hear from you. You just send us a little note in the chat, whether you're joining us on YouTube or streaming from Facebook. We welcome you. If you're watching a little later, I know some of you tune in tomorrow. That's cool too. You can leave comments for us there as well. We ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also subscribe to the newsletter so you can learn more about what's going on. But today, we're going to dive into the idea of the arc of silence. This whole past week, As many of you know, I'm a devotee of Paramahansa Yogananda, who taught me how to meditate, and it really helped my brain to slow down and to answer a lot of the questions that I had from the time I was a little kid. There were so many things that I was aware of, but nobody could explain why. And I'm not different from anyone else. We all have access to these opportunities. And so this week was the convocation, which takes place in Southern California and Los Angeles. And it's the coming together of a week's worth of talks from the monastics of that order and lots of meditation. The first time I attended one of those was in 1993. And if you can imagine meditating in the grand ballroom of the Westin Bonaventure Hotel in downtown LA, and a spillover room was the other hotel, the Biltmore Hotel, just up the street a ways. 5,000 people meditating in a room in silence. You want to talk about really not talking a whole lot the whole week. It was mostly about that inner journey, that inner arc of silence, taking the arc to the inner place of silence. And so this week, it's usually the first week of August every year. So this was the week. And there was a talk that was done by one of the nuns about silence. And she said, make sure that you don't miss the arc of silence when it comes around. Like if you were like Noah and the ark, make sure you don't miss the arc of silence. Make it part of your day, make it part of my day. So sometimes we have this idea of what meditation is. There are many forms of meditation, but the meditation form that I'm most interested in imparting upon everyone else that I come in contact with, we could find various other forms of meditation. That's not even that it's easy. It's not. You've got to really look for ways to meditate and stay in that consciousness of the infinite. But how do we shut down the senses and go beyond? Like if we're anything, and I've said this a million times, like SoulCall is the beyond thought movement. We're not new. There's no such thing as a new thought. All thoughts are God's thoughts. It could be new to you thought movement. There's that, but they're not new. And it's working from a place where all the thoughts are there. There's the realm when you start to meditate. I was having this conversation with one of our friends here last week. It's kind of like the Akashic records, if you will. All that information is right there. It's kind of like going into the library. If you go into a library, which section do you go for first? Shout them out.
Fiction.
You would go for fiction? Fiction? Sports. See, I go for nonfiction. Like, I don't like made up stuff. Like but that would be me. I'd go for like documentaries or just, spirituality maybe, but not so much anymore since I started meditating. I feel like there's a way to get into meditation. There are techniques we can use to get beyond the library of thought. You can't possibly read every book in the library, even if you wanted to, even if you just picked one section. So I'm going to focus on, I'm going to be the expert on sports. I'm going to be the expert on fiction and the way this person writes and the characters and the, who bring us information. There's a way when we meditate, that kind of stuff happens too. Whatever we love the most, we get into this creative space in meditation. So for me, the zone was music. I've always been able to hear music around, and I wasn't sure where it was coming from, whether it was coming from inside of me or outside. And I realized it's a little of both because everything has vibrations. So I was hearing vibrations of things around me, but the music, the symphonic stuff was coming from inside. And it was hard to tell the difference because in fact, there is no difference. So it took me a while to put that together for myself. We're like little coins of consciousness walking around. We're heads and tails, ever flipping. And you can quote that. Somebody write that down. But the point is, when we sit in meditation, there's a way we get to a place where whatever our passion is, we can perceive responses or information about how to create a new thing based on the love and the passion of our heart. Well, what I'm suggesting we do, and what this nun was suggesting, which I love, is to get beyond that so that we go through all the thoughts of God. All thoughts are God's thoughts. So I'm going to get through this thought realm, this realm of creativity where I can pick and choose things to bring back through and bring to this vibratory rate of consciousness. When you meditate, What we were trying to do is to turn off all the senses, turn off the heart, turn off all desires, and have one single pointed focus: God alone. God alone. I don't want the gifts from the giver. I want the giver of all gifts. That's it. So with this laser-like focus and with deep concentration on the spiritual eye, we can learn to go beyond the realm of entertainment, if you will, to get to the supercharged realm where it's only cosmic consciousness, consciousness of the infinite, and stay there in that sacred silence, that stillness, that nothing else, that nothingness of everythingness, and allow ourselves to get supercharged with that vibration, that awakening, that trust, that knowing that helps us to stay calm and still and perceive truth in all other avenues of exploration. Then, when we come back through the realm of thoughts and creative ideas, we're resonating then to a different frequency in consciousness. We'll choose different things. We won't choose, oh, this book, that book. We'll choose something that's like a higher vibration because we're charged with something different. So we'll grab something, maybe, if you think of it as an apple tree or the book in the library, it's the one that's all the way up here. You need to get some help. You want that one, not these. I want that one. Right?
Yeah.
That's what's going to start happening. And you'll start to notice in your life, by using the magnetic strength of your heart with that supercharged higher vibration of pure consciousness, God consciousness, you'll attract things and people who resonate with the same frequency. And you can say things like, I'm attracting, that which I need in this moment, that is the same vibration or higher, to bring to fruition this divine vision that was given to me to do this time. And then just let it go. And then, shoo, everything just shows up. You've got to still make the effort. It's not like you just sit there and wait for it, but you keep working towards the goal, as Yogananda would say, keep working towards the goal, and the goal keeps moving. Like, choose something that is bigger than you. Yogananda would say, bite off more than you can chew and then chew it. We were talking about food earlier. I think sometimes we do that with food. Welcome, Elia from Miami. So in this idea of God alone. So don't stop in the library when you meditate. And then what else can we do in our lives to recognize silence? There's a way to dump the thoughts out of our heads in a certain, those of you who've taken my meditation classes over the years, I remember they recommend you just find a tiny area of your house that is dedicated solely to meditation. Nothing else. This is where I meditate. Even if you have to get, one of these little, and partition off a little corner of a room. When I go here, this is all I do. I don't do anything else. I don't journal here. I don't read here. This is where I go to just meditate. And you start to cut the groove of that consciousness, that sacred practice, where the vibration is only that. Similar to if you walk into, I know a lot of us like to go to Europe and go into those old churches. As soon as you walk in, you could just feel the energy of, wow, the centuries of prayer that happened in there. You could just feel it. You start to supercharge your little corner. And then before you know it, you've got a bigger thing. Maybe you start to build an altar. Maybe, I think about my little humble beginnings in this tiny house I lived in, a little apartment with a little corner in my bedroom. That was my meditation spot. And I got a little travel altar, like that had some deities on it. And little by little, it wasn't about those things. It was just about sacred objects that helped me spark. Now I can meditate anywhere, but I have a room in my house. I feel so lucky that this entire room is just meditation. Nothing else happens up here. That's it. And it looks kind of, some of you that tuned in over the winters where we meditate, it's not a show of, it took me a while to build up to having this opportunity to have a whole room. And I've got a whole altar. And I've got individual photos of deities that I love because the energy's on them. But it took a lifetime, 35 years worth of continuous, that's all I thought about. Now I've got this space and I realize it's not about the space. It's about what's inside. But I'm glad I had that space. When I go up the stairs and I sit in that room, that's all that's ever happened there. So I get deeper really fast. So meditation in a group, which is why we invite you on, August 16th to come out and meditate with us at the Dempsey from 7 to 8. When you meditate in a group, it's easier to get still and to maintain that stillness. We talk about taking periods of silence where you unplug from everything for longer periods of time. I think I told you about the first time I went to a 2.5-day silent retreat in Front Royal, Virginia. This was a very long time ago now. And those of you who know me, I do talk a lot. My family, everybody was wagering. She's not going to make it past 10 minutes without talking to someone. But I went with somebody. If you set yourself up for success, go with somebody who's sincere in it. I went with a woman who was a lifelong meditator already, who was very disciplined. She was an oncologist from India. And we didn't talk at all. Like if we had to say something to drive up, we would write it down and share it. So I didn't say a word for 2.5 days. And the beautiful thing started to happen. Like as you're meditating, at first you could see everybody showing up a little tired from the drive, but usually like through the first full day into the second half of the first full day, everybody starts to become luminous and twinkly. And it's like, we're not tired. We're just not exhausted from, where are you from? Oh, no, what do you do? Oh, you have children? Oh, how nice. Do you? No. Who cares? I wasn't there for that. That sounds like, who cares? I was there to get connected to God alone. And everybody else was too. So if we'd see each other, we'd just smile or bow or just acknowledge each other. We ate in silence. Nobody spoke to anyone. It was just purely meditation. And after 2.5 days, I was flying with more energy than I've had. I couldn't believe the transformation inside. And the thoughts I was thinking were more lofty. Solutions to things that I was, experiencing challenge around were effortless. They were there the whole time, but I had to cut through the sea of my thoughts around thoughts. It's like thoughts wrapped in thoughts wrapped in thoughts. It's like those little Matryoshka dolls from Russia, until you get to the tiny kernel of thought that was actually God's thought. We built all this stuff around it. I didn't need nearly as many thoughts. And I made some life-changing decisions there that were scary, but I felt my connection to Source guiding me through. So as we transition, with SoulCall, going from meeting in person every Sunday to the first Sunday of every month. So we were not going to meet in person for the rest of the month of August. We will meet September 3rd out at the atrium in the Dempsey. And that's also going to be our food drive. So if you're collecting food, bring it out or make a connection with Care or Michelle, and we'll make sure we collect it from you. But as we shift, as something wants to evolve, we don't feel as clingy to it. It's like, let yourself evolve into the next thing. Let yourself evolve into the next thing, or to the thing it was meant to be in the first place, in our case. So that experiential spirituality is what we're talking about. And it's for each of us to have our own personal relationship with God in the silence. So when we grab the thoughts on our way to God, if we stop in the library of thought, better than not doing it at all. And give yourself permission to understand those thoughts will still be there, because you've got to come back the way you came. You'll come right back through there, but with a different consciousness, and you'll choose something else. And I'll get music, or I'll get comedy, or I'll get books, or you'll get whatever you love in that library. So, a lot of people have these mastermind groups, and it's taken from a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. So this is not new. So this is like very, very old. In the 1890s, Andrew Carnegie and all people like this would sit and meditate on the great thinkers of the time, inventions, Leonardo da Vinci would just stare not only off into space, but sometimes he'd stare at a wall that had stains on it just to get out of thinking, just to get past all that into a zone of where everything is. Then you bring back the passion of your heart as your soul's calling, what it is that is yours and yours alone, to do it in the way you'll do it. So it's all there. It's all there for us, sharing and ready. But we need to develop this practice of silence. So one of these, a walking meditation could be in the silence, going out into nature. If you like to cook in silence. Leave the TV and the radio off. Just cook with the infinite. Eat in silence. Chew your food. Really, really taste it. Give thanks that your body can chew it and then digest it and turn it into energy. That's miraculous. And oftentimes when we get together in groups, or do you ever have that awkward silence with someone, like nobody's talking, somebody's got to say something? God forbid we don't fill the silence with some thought. Practice silence with friends, like on a long drive. How comfortable are you with one another? I remember Guruji was talking about a story of a couple. They'd been married for 40-some, 50-some years. And there was a young couple seated at a table for dinner at a restaurant. And the servers were serving the young couple, and they were talking and very engaged with one another. And then there was this other older couple that just ate and didn't say a word. And everybody felt sorry for the older couple because they thought, they don't have anything to say to each other. Where the idea is they could eat it. They're so comfortable with one another, they don't need to just fill it up. And they're enjoying their time tremendously. It's not like it was a negative thing. So do you ever find that with people you're around? You could be in the silence together. You don't have to be chattering all the time. So find those friends who can hold that sacred silence with you. Find a friend who can meditate with you. Even if you do it on Zoom, knowing that somebody else is there to help you maintain your posture and your stillness. You're not going to cough. I'm not going to sneeze. I'm going to be still. I'm going to be quiet. Turn off the senses. Turn off the mind, the heart, the breath. Go beyond. Go into that silence. Turning off the senses and making it about God alone. So this next iteration of SoulCall, we're evolving into what we were designed to be in the first place. Once again, we're not going to meet in person for the rest of the month of August, except for Wednesday, August 16th. We will be doing music meditation kirtan from 7 to 8. All are welcome. It's a love offering. And we'll be back in person Sunday, September 3rd at the atrium space at the Dempsey. And there's more information about that on the website and in the newsletter. So in the meantime, get used to the silence. Work in silence, play in silence, walk in silence. The infinite loves silence. In our silence, God's silence ceases. And you'll be more able to show up as love, the cosmic force of the universe in pure form. So enjoy this song called Just Be Love by Lisa and Erika.
One clear thought, followed by one bold move, sets off a wave of motion, making the way for a miracle. And what is a miracle? The shape of what can be, when we believe in what we cannot see. It is the courage of dreamers, song of the singers, bringing in a better tomorrow. Knowing truth in the face of fear, standing strong till the coast is clear. Be brave, be bold, be wise, be love. It's the power of one who won't stand up, followed by one who won't back down. And one by one we remain true to the vision, turning injustice around. God's change is sure to come, and we know just be love.
Said you wanna be starting something, you got to be starting something. Said you wanna be starting something, sing it, you got to be starting something. Said you wanna be starting something, you got to be starting something. Said you wanna be starting something, you got to be starting something.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
You got to be starting something. Said you wanna be starting something.
Just be love. A change is sure to come when we know that we're the ones. Be brave, be bold, be wise, be brave, be bold, be wise, be brave, be bold, be wise, be love. Just be love. Just be love. Just be love.
All right, just be love. Just get out there and do that thing that makes you uniquely you, your soul's calling. And join us for all the wonderful events we have coming up. Once again, start picking up those pantry items for our SoulCall food drive. It's going to take place over Labor Day weekend, September 3rd. And we're going to be picking up at different locations. You can find out more in the newsletter. But if you gather some food together, and your donations will also help us fill in with the items that are most necessary. We were talking about it this morning before the program started, that everywhere we know there are food banks who are running out of food. They're helping more families. We can't do enough to help people who are suffering from food insecurities. Boy, and the prices of food are going up, and all these kinds of things, whether they need to be or not, they kind of never came down even when they should have. So let us do what we can do. Just give what you can. SoulCallGlobal.org/donate. And we will go out and buy the food ourselves and pack it up and get it to the people who we are aware of who are in need. Last time, I think we did almost 100 bags of food. I think it was like 85 or 87. So that's a lot of families, a lot of food. And we thank you for your contributions. Also, if you're in need of prayer, please send your prayers to prayers@soulcallglobal.org. We've got a prayer team who will pray for you, for your loved ones. And so don't go to sleep with something on your heart this evening. Now let us be here for you. Mark your calendars. This is way down the road, but it's not so much now. It's August already. December the 12th, 12/12. It's a Tuesday. It's going to be the 20th anniversary of Jazz Up the Holidays. So mark your calendars for that. It's going to be at the McConnell Arts Center in Worthington. And I would love to sell it out this year. And that helps us to do one of our other huge fundraisers. That's our biggest fundraiser of the year, is our SoulCall Santa. And last year, we helped out dozens of families with children to have food, new clothes for Christmas, and toys of their choice. So we take lists and we become the SoulCall Santa, and nobody knows where it comes from, which is the best part. So they believe in the infinite is there for them. We don't get the accolades or the recognition for it, but we do get that feeling on the inside of knowing, man, we've really done an amazing thing for the extension of ourselves. It's like, so it's an exciting time. It's very, very fun. We wrap all the presents. We have wrapping day and food and all of that. It's really a blast. So that's coming up. Circle of Love Gathering, October 13th through the 15th. We already got a lot of people signed up for the Circle of Love. It's going to be out at the Dempsey Event Center Friday evening through Sunday, like around noon. Sign up circleoflovegathering.com or soulcallglobal.org. We'll get you there. It's experiential all weekend. Gary Lynn Floyd's going to be coming into town for it. Dr. Sandra Solano and Tibetan Singing Bowls. Great food, the mandala, Nia, Qigong, like all kinds of everything. It's just going to be an amazing weekend of that depth, that sacred. David Leonard's going to be with us too, that sacred awakening. So be there. And then also check out the Dempsey Integrative Wellness Center. We've got lots of workshops coming up. Linda Code had a very successful weekend last weekend, lots of people in her workshop. She's going to be offering the numerology workshop again. August 12th, there's going to be a singing bowl experience out there. And let's see, on the 26th, there's going to be a workshop with the power of attraction. David Galick and Dr. Jim Broyles are going to open that opportunity up for us. And yoga every day of the week. So join us if you're close to Delaware. And if not, sign up and make it a point to come to one of those workshops. So we thank you for being with us on SoulCall. We want to thank everyone here at AIAM for being so hospitable over the last year and couple months. We're meeting in person. I want to thank everybody on the setup team. You guys are all amazing. They won't clap for themselves as they do. All of our volunteers, all of our prayer teams. We're not going away. We're just kind of evolving into our next thing. So we're going to meet in person. So we're still going to need all of you to set up only once a month instead of every month. And then Wednesdays, every Wednesdays. Wednesday's going to be the new Sunday, just like 80 is the new 60. You know what they say? Yeah. Or something like that. But we thank you wherever you're tuning in from. And just to know that we're all on the planet working on our own consciousness, raising that vibration one soul at a time. So wherever you are and whatever you're going through, please remember that you are loved. Peace and blessings.
One family, one people, one planet, one love.